Have you ever wondered why some people seem to stay sharp as a tack well into their 80s and 90s, while others, who seem just as healthy, begin to fade? We often chalk it up to genetics or just bad luck. We tell ourselves that a decline in memory is simply a part of getting older, an unavoidable toll that time takes on the mind. But the truth is, the story is far more complex than that. The reality is that our own homes, the very places we believe are our sanctuaries, could be quietly harboring hidden dangers that contribute to cognitive decline. What they don't tell you is that everyday items, things we trust and use without a second thought, can release substances that slowly, subtly, and silently work against our brain health over decades. This isn't about some far-off, exotic threat. This is about what's under your kitchen sink, inside your cupboards, and even in the water you drink. This could be you, or someone you love, unknowingly exposed to these risks day after day. The stakes couldn't be higher. We're not just talking about forgetting a name here and there. We're talking about the potential loss of your most precious memories, your independence, and the dignity you've earned over a lifetime. It's about the heartbreaking possibility of becoming a burden to the very people you love most. But this is not a story of fear, it's a story of empowerment. In this video, I'm going to reveal the things no one tells you about these common household items. More importantly, I'm going to give you the practical solutions and simple changes you can make, starting today, to protect your mind and transform your home from a place of hidden risks into a true fortress of health. Stay until the end because the number one item on our list is something millions of people over 60 take every single night, believing it's perfectly safe, when in fact, research has linked it directly to a significantly higher risk of dementia. This is crucial information you won't want to miss. Now let's get started. Number 6. Harsh chemical cleaning products. We all want a clean and sanitary home. It's a sign of order, of health, of taking pride in our surroundings. But many of the products we've been taught to rely on for that sparkling clean finish contain a cocktail of potent chemicals, particularly those with volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, as well as ammonia and bleach. For seniors, the risk is magnified. As we age, our bodies, including our respiratory systems and our brain's natural defense system, the blood-brain barrier, become less efficient at filtering out and expelling toxins. This means that chemicals we might have tolerated without issue in our younger years can now pose a more significant threat, accumulating in our system and potentially contributing to neuroinflammation, which is a key factor in the development of cognitive diseases. Take the story of Charles, an 84-year-old retired shop teacher. Charles was a man of routine and precision. His workshop was immaculate, and so was his home. Every Saturday morning, he'd conduct what he called the deep clean, using a powerful bathroom cleaner with bleach for the tiles and a strong ammonia-based solution for the windows. He loved the sterile smell. To him, it smelled like accomplishment. But over the last few years, his daughter Nancy noticed troubling changes. Charles, a man who could recall the exact dimensions of a project he'd built 40 years ago, started forgetting conversations they'd had just the day before. He'd seem confused or foggy, especially on Saturday afternoons. He brushed it off as just being tired. What he didn't realize was that in his poorly ventilated bathroom, he was inhaling a concentrated dose of neurotoxic fumes every single week. The immediate fogginess he felt was a minor, acute reaction, but the cumulative effect over years was contributing to a more serious, chronic problem in his brain. The consequences of ignoring this are devastating. It's a slow, creeping erosion of cognitive function. It starts with brain fog and minor memory lapses, but can progress to significant confusion, impaired judgment, and an increased risk for developing dementia. You are, in effect, unknowingly poisoning the very air you breathe in the name of cleanliness. Fortunately, the solution inside here is not to stop cleaning, but to clean smarter. You have control over this. The first step is to prioritize ventilation. Always open windows and turn on a fan when using any cleaning product, even milder ones. Second, actively choose your products. Look for cleaners that are labeled VOC-free, fragrance-free, and are made from plant-derived ingredients. Brands that list all their ingredients are often more trustworthy. Third, and this is the most empowering step, embrace the wisdom of the past. Simple, effective cleaners like white vinegar, baking soda, and Castile soap can handle the vast majority of household cleaning tasks without any of the harmful fumes. A solution of equal parts water and white vinegar is a fantastic all-purpose cleaner and glass cleaner. Baking soda makes a wonderful, gentle abrasive for scrubbing sinks and tubs. You can regain control over your home's air quality and protect your brain, and it's often cheaper and just as effective. This small adjustment in your routine is a powerful act of self-preservation. Now that we've cleared the air, so to speak, let's look at another item you might be using every single day. Number 5. Nonstick cookware. For decades, we've been sold on the convenience of nonstick pots and pans. No scrubbing, easy cleanup, less oil needed for cooking. What's not to love? They became a staple in kitchens everywhere. But the truth is, that convenience comes at a hidden cost. The coating that makes these pans so slippery, historically made with chemicals like polytetrafluoroethylene, or PTFE, often contained another compound called PFOA. These are part of a larger group of forever chemicals, known as PFAS, which do not break down in the environment or in our bodies. When these pans are overheated or when the surface gets scratched, these chemicals can be released into your food and the air. For older adults, whose bodies are already working harder to process toxins, the lifelong accumulation of these chemicals is a significant concern. Medical research indicates that PFAS are endocrine disruptors, meaning they interfere with our hormones, and have been linked to a host of health problems. Emerging studies are now exploring their neurotoxic effects, suggesting they can increase oxidative stress in the brain, a process that damages brain cells and is a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. Consider the story of Margaret, a 78-year-old grandmother who lived for her family. Her greatest joy was cooking. Every Sunday, the whole family would gather at her house for a big meal. Her kitchen was filled with well-used nonstick pans, some of which she'd had for over 20 years, their surfaces etched with scratches from countless meals lovingly prepared. Margaret was the family's rock, the keeper of stories and recipes. But then, she started to struggle. It began with forgetting ingredients for a recipe she'd known by heart her whole life. Then she started having trouble following the steps of a conversation. Her family chalked it up to her age. What they didn't realize was that with every meal she cooked, with every scrape of a metal spatula in her favorite frying pan, she was potentially releasing tiny, invisible particles of these forever chemicals into the food her family, and especially she, was eating. The convenience she cherished was betraying her health behind the scenes. The consequences of continuing to use old, scratched nonstick cookware are serious. It's not just a theoretical risk. It's a daily, low-dose exposure to chemicals that your body cannot easily eliminate. This cumulative burden can contribute to the silent inflammation and cellular damage in the brain that precedes cognitive decline. It's a heartbreaking irony. The very act of nourishing your loved ones could be harming your own mind. But here's what you can do. The good news is that there are excellent, safe alternatives. This is an easy fix. The first and most important solution is to inspect your cookware. If you have any nonstick pans with scratches, peeling, or flaking, it is crucial to stop using them immediately. Dispose of them responsibly. Second, when replacing them, choose safer materials. Stainless steel is a durable, excellent choice. Cast iron is another fantastic option. Once properly seasoned, it's virtually non-stick and can even add a small amount of beneficial iron to your food. Ceramic-coated pans are also a good alternative, but be sure to choose high-quality brands as cheaper versions can wear out quickly. Third, if you must use non-stick, treat it with extreme care. Never use metal utensils, avoid high heat, and hand wash it gently to protect the surface. By making this simple switch in your kitchen, you take a massive step toward reducing your daily toxic load and protecting your brain for all the years to come. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. Your engagement is so encouraging for us. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos where we share vital information like this. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 4, air fresheners and scented candles. Who doesn't enjoy a pleasant scent in their home? We use air fresheners to mask odors and light scented candles to create a cozy, relaxing atmosphere. They are marketed to us as little luxuries, tools for creating a certain mood or feeling. The problem is, Many of these products are like Trojan horses, bringing unwelcome chemicals into our homes disguised as pleasant fragrances. The vast majority of synthetic fragrances are derived from a complex mixture of chemicals, including many VOCs. A key ingredient to look out for are phthalates, which are used to make scents last longer. When you spray an air freshener or light a scented candle, these chemicals don't just disappear. They linger in the air, settle on surfaces, and are inhaled directly into our bodies. For seniors, the danger is once again cumulative. Decades of exposure, combined with a reduced ability to detoxify, can lead to a significant buildup of these substances. Phthalates are known endocrine disruptors, and studies have shown that high exposure to certain VOCs can cause neurological symptoms like memory impairment and difficulty concentrating. They are subtle irritants to the central nervous system. Let's look at someone like Harold, an 82-year-old widower. After his wife, Eleanor, passed away, Harold found the house felt empty and sad. Eleanor had always loved the scent of lavender, so to feel closer to her, Harold started plugging in lavender-scented air fresheners in every room. He also lit a lavender candle on her bedside table each evening. The scent was a comfort, a way to keep her memory alive. But his children started to notice he was becoming increasingly withdrawn and confused. He would complain of headaches and seemed perpetually in a fog. They worried it was his grief, or perhaps the early stages of dementia. What they didn't consider was the constant, 24/7 chemical infusion in his home. The very thing he was using for comfort was creating a low-grade, neurotoxic environment that was exacerbating his age-related cognitive challenges. The consequences can be heartbreaking. The link between these products and our mood is real, but it can be a deceptive one. While a scent might provide temporary comfort, the long-term, under-the-surface exposure to the chemicals creating that scent can contribute to chronic inflammation and neurological stress. This can manifest as headaches, dizziness, brain fog, and over time, may increase the risk of more permanent cognitive damage. It's a cruel trade-off, a moment of perceived comfort for a potential lifetime of cognitive struggle. Fortunately, you can have a beautifully scented home without the chemical risk. Here's what you can do. First, eliminate the source. Unplug the air fresheners and pack away the synthetic fragrance candles. It's the most powerful step you can take. Second, embrace natural alternatives. An essential oil diffuser with high-quality, pure essential oils like lavender, lemon, or peppermint can provide beautiful scents with potential therapeutic benefits. A few drops are all you need. Third, get creative with nature. Simmer a pot of water on the stove with a cinnamon stick, some cloves, and an orange peel. It will fill your home with a warm, wonderful aroma. Open your windows and let fresh air in. It's the best air freshener there is. You don't have to sacrifice a pleasant environment to protect your health. You can create a home that truly nourishes all of your senses, especially your peace of mind. Let's continue to the next item, which is something many of us handle every single day without a thought. Number 3, plastic food containers and water bottles. In our modern world, plastic is everywhere. It's convenient, it's cheap, and it's incredibly durable. We store our leftovers in plastic tubs, we pack lunches in plastic bags, and we often drink water from plastic bottles. The problem is, not all plastics are created equal, and many can leach harmful chemicals into our food and drink, especially when heated or when they become old and scratched. Two of the biggest culprits are bisphenol A, BPA, and phthalates, the same chemicals we discussed in air fresheners. BPA is a synthetic estrogen that can disrupt our hormonal system, and it has been a primary component in hard, polycarbonate plastics and the lining of food cans for years. Phthalates are used to make plastics like PVC more flexible and durable. As we age, our endocrine system becomes more delicate and susceptible to disruption. For seniors, a lifetime of exposure to these chemicals can have significant consequences. Research has linked BPA exposure to a variety of health issues, and emerging science is pointing towards its negative impact on the brain, including effects on memory and learning, by interfering with brain cell function and communication. Take the story of George, a 75-year-old retired accountant. George was a practical, no-nonsense man. He hated waste. Every night, he would carefully pack the dinner leftovers into a collection of plastic containers he'd been using for years. The next day, he'd pop one of those containers directly into the microwave for lunch. It was efficient and simple. He also drank from the same reusable plastic water bottle every day, washing and refilling it for as long as he could remember. He was proud of his frugality. But his wife, Carol, noticed he was becoming uncharacteristically irritable and forgetful. He, a man who could balance a budget to the penny, started struggling to keep track of appointments and bills. What George didn't realize was that every time he microwaved his food in those old, scratched plastic containers, he was accelerating the leaching of BPA and other chemicals directly into his meal. His trusty water bottle, breaking down from years of use and washing, was doing the same. His practical habits were, behind the scenes, creating a steady drip of hormone-disrupting chemicals into his body. The consequences of this are insidious because they are invisible. You can't see, smell, or taste these chemicals. But their effect on your body's delicate hormonal balance and neurological health can be profound. This constant, low-level exposure can contribute to oxidative stress and inflammation in the brain, creating an environment where cognitive decline can take hold more easily. It's a quiet threat hiding in plain sight in your refrigerator and pantry. The good news is that taking control of this is incredibly straightforward. Here are the simple changes you can make. First, and this is non-negotiable, never, ever microwave food in plastic containers. Even if they are labeled microwave safe, this label often just means the plastic won't warp or melt, not that chemicals won't leach. Transfer food to a glass or ceramic dish before heating. Second, phase out your plastic food storage containers and replace them with glass, stainless steel, or ceramic alternatives. They are not only safer but also more durable and don't absorb food stains and odors. Third, ditch the plastic water bottles. Invest in a high-quality stainless steel or glass water bottle for your daily hydration. These small adjustments in your daily routine significantly reduce your exposure and empower you to protect your long-term brain health. Now, before we move on to our top 2, which are the most critical on our list, I want to check in with you. If you've made it this far, you are clearly committed to protecting your health and the health of your loved ones. To acknowledge that commitment, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. It's wonderful to know we are on this journey together. Now let's move forward. Number 2, contaminated tap water. Water is the essence of life. We need it to survive. We are told to drink 8 glasses a day for our health. We use it for cooking, bathing, and cleaning. We trust that when we turn on the tap, the water that comes out is safe. But the reality is, depending on where you live and the age of your city's infrastructure or your own home's plumbing, your tap water could be a source of contaminants that are harmful to your brain. 2 of the most concerning contaminants linked to cognitive decline are lead and aluminum. Lead can leach into water from old pipes, solder, and fixtures, a common problem in homes built before the 1980s. There is no safe level of lead exposure. It is a potent neurotoxin that can cause irreversible brain damage. Aluminum can also be present in some water supplies, partly because it's used in the water treatment process. While the link is still debated by some, several studies have found higher concentrations of aluminum in the brains of Alzheimer's patients, suggesting a potential connection. For seniors, the issue is critical. The brain's defenses are not as robust as they once were, and decades of low-level exposure to these metals can lead to dangerous accumulation in brain tissue, contributing to inflammation and the formation of the plaques and tangles associated with Alzheimer's disease. I remember the story of Robert and Helen, a couple in their late 70s who had lived in the same charming, pre-war house for over 50 years. They were fiercely independent, but in recent years, both of them had started to experience a noticeable cognitive decline that seemed to be progressing at a similar, alarming rate. They were both having memory problems, and Robert, once a sharp conversationalist, was struggling to find his words. Their children were worried, assuming it was a tragic genetic predisposition. It was only when a pipe burst in their basement that a plumber discovered the home was filled with old lead piping. For 50 years, with every glass of water, every pot of soup, every shower, they had been unknowingly exposing themselves to a neurotoxin. The home they loved so dearly was the source of their shared health crisis. The consequences are, frankly, terrifying. This is a hidden danger of the highest order. It's a silent, invisible threat that undermines the very foundation of your health every single day. The damage from heavy metal toxicity is cumulative and can be devastating, robbing you of your cognitive vitality and your precious independence. It's a problem that, if left unaddressed, can lead to a preventable tragedy. But you are not helpless. Here's what you can do to ensure your water is safe. First, you must investigate. You can't fix a problem you don't know you have. Contact your local water utility and ask for their latest water quality report, sometimes called a consumer confidence report. This is public information. For even more peace of mind, you can purchase a home water testing kit or send a sample to a certified lab to test for specific contaminants like lead and aluminum. Second, filter your water. This is the most crucial step. A high-quality water filter is not a luxury. It is an essential tool for health protection. Look for a filter that is NSF certified to remove lead, VOCs, and other specific contaminants of concern. There are many options, from simple pitchers to faucet-mounted filters to comprehensive under-sink or whole-house systems. Do your research and choose the best one for your budget and needs. Third, if you have an older home, let the cold water run for a minute before using it for drinking or cooking, as lead is more likely to leach into stagnant water. Never use hot water from the tap for cooking, as it dissolves lead more quickly. Taking charge of your water quality is one of the most powerful things you can do for your brain. And now, we've arrived at the number one item on our list. This is the one I promised you at the beginning. It's something that millions of people, especially those over 65, use regularly, often daily, believing it to be a harmless solution to a common problem. The truth is, it carries a secret, well-documented risk to your long-term cognitive health. Number 1. Common over-the-counter medications with anticholinergic properties. We're talking about certain types of common allergy pills, sleep aids, and even some cold remedies that you can buy without a prescription. The active ingredient to watch for is often diphenhydramine, the main component in products like Benadryl or other first-generation antihistamines. These drugs work by blocking a neurotransmitter in your brain called acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is absolutely vital for memory and learning. It's the chemical messenger that allows your brain cells to communicate effectively when forming and retrieving memories. When you take a drug that blocks this messenger, you are essentially hampering your brain's ability to perform one of its most basic functions. While a single dose might cause temporary drowsiness or brain fog, the real danger lies in chronic, long-term use. For older adults, whose acetylcholine levels may already be naturally declining, regularly taking these drugs can be devastating. A large body of medical research, including long-term studies published in prestigious journals like JAMA Internal Medicine, has established a strong, dose-dependent link between the long-term use of anticholinergic drugs and a significantly increased risk of developing dementia. The more you take, and the longer you take them, the higher your risk. Take the story of Eleanor, an 80-year-old retired librarian. For the last 15 years, Eleanor had trouble sleeping. Her doctor had once suggested she try an over-the-counter sleep aid, and she found it worked. It became her nightly ritual. She thought nothing of it. It wasn't a real prescription drug, after all. She saw it as a harmless helper. Eleanor, a woman who had spent her life surrounded by books and knowledge, began to notice her own mind felt like a library with disorganized shelves. She'd lose her train of thought mid-sentence. She couldn't recall the plot of a book she'd just finished. Her family was deeply concerned. What Eleanor didn't realize was that her nightly, harmless helper was actively working against her brain, blocking the very chemical it needed to form new memories and function properly. She was, in effect, taking a small dose of a memory-impairing drug every single night for over a decade. The consequences of this are chilling because the damage is so direct. This isn't an indirect environmental exposure. This is a substance you are voluntarily ingesting that has a known mechanism for disrupting brain function. The research is not ambiguous. Long-term use is associated with brain atrophy, a literal shrinking of the brain, and a dementia risk that can be over 50% higher for those who use these drugs regularly compared to those who don't. It is perhaps one of the most significant and preventable risk factors for dementia that is hiding in plain sight in millions of medicine cabinets. But here is the empowering news. The moment you stop taking these drugs, you stop contributing to the risk. Here's the solution in sight. First, and this is of utmost importance, review your medications. Look at everything you take, both prescription and over-the-counter. Make a list of any antihistamines, sleep aids, or even some bladder control medications, and talk to your doctor or pharmacist. Ask them specifically, Does this medication have anticholinergic effects? It's important to consult with healthcare providers before stopping any prescribed medication. Second, seek safer alternatives for your issues. If you have trouble sleeping, explore non-pharmacological approaches first. Improve your sleep hygiene, reduce caffeine, get regular exercise, and try relaxation techniques like meditation or a warm bath. If you need a sleep aid, talk to your doctor about safer options like melatonin. For allergies, newer second-generation antihistamines like loratadine, Claritin, or cetirizine, Zyrtec, do not have the same strong anticholinergic effects on the brain. Third, become your own health advocate. Question what you put into your body. Just because something is sold over the counter does not mean it is free of serious long-term risks, especially as we age. Your brain is your most precious asset. Protecting it is your right and your responsibility. Take a moment to reflect on what we've covered. From the air we breathe to the water we drink, from the pans we cook with to the pills we take. Our homes and our habits hold a hidden power over the future of our minds. Now that we've covered these 6 areas, you might feel a little concerned, and that's understandable. But I want you to replace that concern with a feeling of empowerment. You have control. These risks are not set in stone, and dementia is not an inevitable fate for most of us. Small changes make big differences. The overarching theme here is consciousness. It's about shifting from passive consumption to active, conscious choices. It's about asking, is this product truly serving my health? It's about honoring the wisdom that comes with age by becoming a fierce guardian of your own well-being. By swapping out a pan, choosing a different cleaner, filtering your water, or questioning a pill, you are not just removing a negative. You are actively casting a vote for a future filled with clarity, independence, and dignity. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.